a special episode of Hydro Man Ran. We're going to call this our 7th episode.
Yep.
But this is a special one because we're doing this because of our subscribers. We've reached 25 a couple months ago. I think we're at 30 as of the day that I noticed this and recording this. So we're doing our Adam Sandler special. 3 bad, 3 greats, and talking about what's the difference between all the different films. We'll do an analysis, maybe is too big of a word for us. We'll call it an analysis, but it is what it is.
This is y'all's fault.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And just a reminder, so 20 more subscribers. So when we get to 50, we're doing all the series that had a movie where they went to space. So any series where it was a normal series and all of a sudden people went to space. James Bond, Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, Leprechaun. Yeah, we'll find all of them. Today we're going to be talking about Adam Sandler. You love or you hate him. I think most people hate him anymore. He had kind of a unique sensibility. I would consider him he was the frat boy Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way of describing him. Actually, he was kind of this like goofy, lovable.
Yeah, and even the characters that he played, was it Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore? As awful as they were also very lovable and redeemable. I think that was something he always strived for. Maybe didn't always achieve, but always strived for in his comedies. We'll get into that. The 6 movies we watched were Punch Drunk Love, Jack and Jill, then it would be Pixels, Ridiculous 6, Uncut Gem, and Hustle. I think that's the correct order.
I think you're right.
So basically you have, imagine a sandwich that has the most wonderful sourdough on either side of it and just a big old dry turd right in the middle. That's what we got here. To keep viewers interested, let's talk about a shitty movie first.
All right, Jack and Jill.
You're not the crazy hot masseuse, are you? I want you to tell me right up front, because if you are, I'm not paying for dinner.
Jack and Jill is as shitty as they come.
We're starting off hard.
Ooh, so this is a rough one. So I'm just scrolling to my notes real quick on this one.
I'll give the synopsis real quick.
Yeah.
Essentially, Adam Sandler plays 2 characters, and yet he puts forth about half the effort overall. He basically is himself, just a generic dad with a job, and then he is his twin sister, who is every obnoxious caricature you see in a movie.
But somehow we're supposed to love her and be mad at him when she's annoyed by him.
That's the thing, is I if I had to identify with somebody, which I don't, but if I had to identify with somebody, it would be with him.
Right.
She pisses me off.
Yeah.
He's right to hate her.
He is. Like, she is immature, she's annoying.
She's all the things that
selfish.
sisters can be to you, but she has got no redeeming qualities.
Right.
Like, my sister's annoying, but I love them because they're still my sisters and they're not total awful people. She has literally no redeeming qualities. They even try to make this when she's like trying to avoid Al Pacino. The whole time he's being creepy, and I'm just like, what does he see in her? Like, I don't feel bad for her being bothered by him.
No, I didn't at all.
You calling him?
And I mean, yeah, no, that's pronouns are going to get weird on this movie. It's so a few of the notes I had, like, the movie starts off trying to be When Harry Met Sally.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning of When Harry Met Sally, it has a bunch of, I don't know if they were real or if they were actors, but it had a bunch of, look like, documentary settings of, like, couples talking about how they met and how they fell in love. And
right, yeah.
And then it kind of shows them throughout. This one has it at the very beginning, and then it has it again in the end credits.
I suspect it was real twins, obviously, but
no, like, I think this one
lines.
Yes, they were definitely given lines. But what struck me right out the gate is when you're, I know movies do homages, and movies want to pay respect to other movies, and it's impossible. Like, no film creator lives in a vacuum. Everybody's going to take things from things they've seen.
Sure.
But don't start your movie off instantly reminding me of a beloved and wonderful romantic comedy classic, and then give me Jack and Jill. Like, if when you start a movie off reminding the audience of a better film, like, or of a good film at least, you should be attempting to reach that bar. And I don't feel like anybody was trying at all in this film. Like, you could tell, like, this was probably like Katie Holmes' attempt to, like, deprogram from Scientology. I mean, like, she is barely there when she's on screen. She is a zombie on screen.
She really is just reading her lines.
Yeah.
Good job leaving Batman for this, by the way. I mean, that was an A+ call.
Did she leave Batman for this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she literally left it for them.
I'm pretty sure she left Batman because Tom Cruise wanted her to have babies.
Is that why?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, now being
because I'm thinking she made this movie after leaving Scientology. Which my note on that is maybe she should have stayed in Scientology.
There's worse things than Scientology. This movie is
with
one of
Jack
them.
and Jill.
Not too many, but this is one of them. That'd be the headline. Worse than Scientology. But the problem with it is, well, I shouldn't say the problem because the whole movie is a problem. There is no, with the Six and with Pixels, there was one moment at least where I laughed. There wasn't a single moment in this movie that even made me chuckle, even accidentally.
No, there was one moment for me, but then they immediately ruined it.
What was that?
So towards the end of the film, she's trying to get in contact with Jack, and it's when Jack is over at Al Pacino's castle or whatever that is.
Right.
But she's sitting there in the hallway of the boat talking on the phone, and she gets off the phone, and the bathroom attendant comes out of the bathroom, and he motions to her to come over to her, and he adjusts her boobs. And I was like, okay, that was actually a pretty decent callback, but then immediately they gave her superhuman strength, and she punches this guy. Like,
the funny part is that earlier in the movie, he had done that to Adam Sandler.
Right, when Adam Sandler was dressing in drag as his sister. So to me, it was like it wasn't like the movie set the bar so low that this is like, oh, that's kind of a clever joke.
It is a joke, at least.
It is a joke, and then immediately she punches him and sends him head over heels through a door like a superhero punch. And I'm like, you could have had him do the and then smash cut to a scene where she's talking to Katie Holmes, like in the next sequence, and behind them, like, he's getting hauled off the boat by police, and he's like, I don't, like, he's just confused and scared.
Yeah. That would have been a real joke.
That would have been a joke. That would have been a way to complete it instead of doing the superhero punch, that was so stupid.
And if you wanted to do that, like, it's been done before where dudes who are obviously women, or women who are obviously dudes, are crazy freaking strong, and it shocks everybody. And they did one other moment where she was like, she was lifting weights in the gym, and it was just a stupid amount of weight. But other than that, she's just supposed to be dainty. But that, and then there's the moment. Doesn't she kill a horse or something?
Yeah,
She sat on it and just cut.
But that's not strength.
It's not. But you would think someone really strong would have that much mass.
Okay, fair enough.
But so there's a couple moments where she's like rock solid, but other than that, she's dainty. Why? Like, you're making her so inconsistent. Even then, if you make her strong, there's jokes there's jokes for days there.
Right, and I think, and to your point, part of humor a lot of times is you set up the expectation that she's strong, but then subvert that and have her act like a dainty woman. All of a sudden, right at the end.
Exactly.
Like, that would have been a way to actually make the humor, and to have that moment maybe where she's you know, instead of punching the guy, like show her be strong all throughout, but then all of a sudden subvert that and have her be a little like,
Right.
oh, that guy tried to adjust my boobs and I'm a little upset by that.
Right.
Like something like that.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Hello!
For example, Mrs. Doubtfire was a elderly lady when she needed to, but she was younger Robin Williams when the time called for it.
Right.
But then again, that was a competent film, so I can't
Right.
call upon.
That's all you can do. Is really like even if you compare this to other Adam Sandler films, like this one is just incompetent beyond measure. There's another scene. It's at the very end. And the scene itself isn't funny, but it made me chuckle because I added my own fan fiction in the moment. And it's right after the Dunkachino advertisement is playing.
Yeah.
And Al Pacino is, burn it, don't ever let this see the light of day. And I
Right.
pretended like that was real footage and Adam Sandler had just shown him the entire Jack and Jill movie. It was...
How
so
did
good.
they get him to be in this?
I think Adam Sandler is a likable guy.
He's a likable guy, but their budget was about 70-80 million. You couldn't have paid him that much.
Oh, I think they could have paid him plenty. He doesn't go anywhere except for in L.A.
True.
Except for, I mean, the castle is obviously a set. So,
Well, yeah, right.
I mean, so like it's.
But you gotta pay them. You gotta pay Dunkin' Donuts. You gotta pay the Lakers.
No,
For sponsorships.
all of that stuff they're paying the movie.
Oh, they will pay. Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
What am I thinking? I don't know
Yeah,
what I'm
no, Dunkin' Donuts. They were handing over. They probably paid some of the budget of
Maybe
this film.
that's why I prefer Krispy Kreme.
Well, they're better too.
That too.
I mean,
Maybe it's subconscious.
Dunkin' Donuts has a good plain cake. I'm a big fan of a.
But every time I bite one of their donuts now, I can just kind of hear her laugh in my ear.
Oh, yeah. Was it her laugh or is it the stupid fucking bird? Oh my god! I actually wrote a note and I paused the movie and I was like, this character's only been on screen for a minute and a half, and I'm so annoyed by the voice. And I hit play, and the bird in the back seat starts talking with the same exact voice, and I was like, what is going on?
You were live texting me through the movie, and I was loving it the whole time.
Oh my gosh, I hated this movie so much.
I got to the point where I was like, maybe we need to cancel this. I don't think he can handle 2 more movies.
Oh, I think this was the last.
This
is the last bad one I watched, and then I saved all the good ones for after.
You definitely saved the worst for last.
So I actually watched this one on YouTube at 1 and 110% speed.
You sped it up.
I sped it up because I couldn't deal with it. And then after it was done, because you had gotten the free Showtime, I immediately signed in and I watched Uncut Gems, and that was the greatest palate cleanser you could imagine. Like it was just, like I immediately forgot that Jack and Jill existed when I started watching Uncut Gems.
It's like eating a spicy pepper and then just chugging milk just to get the hot out of your mouth.
Yeah, no, it was perfect because all of a sudden the movie starts and you have that wonderful. And I'm not even saying this as a joke, but just like zoom in to the gym and then zoom out, and it's his colonoscopy, and I was like, I don't know what's happening in this movie, but I'm on board. That's like, that's an amazing idea for a shot, and to not play it comedically, to play it straight, and like, yeah, it's wonderful.
Is nobody in drag? What's
I'm so happy. Before we get too far into that, let me see. Do I have any other notes? This movie stole a joke.
I'm not surprised, but which joke?
Plagiarism. So there's a scene where Jill is at the table right when she first shows up, and it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
And they're sitting there talking about, they do this joke later in the movie too, but they're sitting there talking about, oh, it's a Christmas movie that we always watch at Christmas time, and it has whatever his name is, Jimmy Stewart, and it has and he it's
like a very famous holiday.
In a very famous holiday movie, an angel comes in, like, It's a Wonderful Life. No, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a brilliant and funny Kids in the Hall skit from the 90s.
Right.
Where two guys are sitting at a table and one of the guys can't remember the name of the film and it's Citizen Kane and the other guy's like, no, it's Citizen Kane, and he keeps on doing this joke.
Right.
And it builds to the point where he's like stabbing the guy. And it's like this, like, I mean, it's something that only Kids in the Hall could do. And if you don't like Kids in the Hall, it's not something you're going to find funny. But, yeah, it's totally a Kids in the Hall joke. And they straight up stole.
That sounds like something that I would actually enjoy when they do it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because it's trying to be a joke. They're trying to play on that.
Oh, no, and it's, if you watch that skit and you like it, you'll always hear Citizen Kane being said with Kevin McDonald's screeching high-pitched voice.
Citizen Kane! It was Citizen Kane! It was Citizen Kane! It was Citizen Kane!
Like, you'll always hear it that way, and it's a wonderful, it's a great sketch, yeah.
I think the only thing I would say is, and I think we touched on this last time, or in the car on the way here, there were way too many fart jokes, which I expected nothing less, but I'm still upset. And very lazy racism. Like, you remember when they were at the park and Jill was at the park with the gardener, who was a Mexican, obviously, because why would anyone else be a gardener in an Adam Sandler movie? And he's a terrible character in his own right. But then at one point, the grandma passes out.
Do you know who the grandma is?
No.
Same actor playing the gardener.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, he did the exact same thing, and I was like, "This is."
Are you serious? I'm really upset now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But then to wake her up, they give her a pepper.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like racist people would look at you and be like, you need to try harder. You're not doing enough with that.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it's a scene, and Adam Sandler does this a lot in his movies. It's a scene with, and we'll get into this definitely with the Ridiculous Six. It's a scene with the race in it, and pretty much everybody in the scene is of the race.
It's a
that they're
Hispanic
making stereotypes
festival.
about. Yeah, it's
a family gathering.
Family gathering.
Yeah.
And then Adam Sandler in drag, and
the most progressive world.
and it's like, why would these people agree to this? Because the actor playing the gardener is a I don't know if I'm assuming he's a fairly well known Mexican comedian. He has a lot of credits, and his credits are all in Spanish and things like that. So I'm assuming he's a fairly beloved Spanish comedian. So
it's just lazily mocking the race. Like you were saying, it's fine to poke fun at stereotypes if you do it cleverly.
Right.
You can make jokes about that, and I'll laugh at that all day. But you're just making fun of the race.
Right.
Like just the the whole joke is, haha, Mexicans like peppers. It's like, where's your joke?
Yeah.
You give me the stereotype, so we're halfway there.
Okay.
You just gotta finish it.
Okay, yeah.
But he can't do that.
No, we've all eaten Mexican food. We all know that Mexican food is a little bit more spicy, maybe,
Sure.
than other foods. But, I
Keep
mean,
it coming.
Hey, why don't you have a Thai family next door, and they're doing an even larger pepper or something like that.
Okay, you keep building.
Yeah, we're building, and we're doing rules of three. So then there's a white family next door, and it's white bread is what they're doing.
There you go.
There we go.
I laughed. Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect.
That's the joke. It's rule of threes. You build up and then subvert the expectation.
Sony owes you a check.
They do. They should have. There you go.
All right. Before we move on, how much?
Another thing.
Go ahead.
The editing in this movie
Oh, I know. It's atrocious.
was wow, guys.
It's atrocious.
There's a scene where she runs out from dinner.
Jill.
All of a sudden, she's in the middle of the woods somewhere with
Yes.
her bird. Her bird wasn't with her in the scene before, and the family's chasing her.
It's a parrot just for clarification. That's why I was talking.
What?
It's the
I
worst.
rewound it because I thought I missed something. The editing in this
It's
film,
terrible.
and I look back,
It's
and
horrific.
the editor I think is another one of Sandler's buddies because he's edited like all these types of movies.
That whole company is just friends.
Yeah.
He gave everyone from Saturday Night Live checks.
And the director is another one too, and I'm really wondering if they just got lazy on set and forgot to film a scene and were just like, whatever.
I'm just surprised we didn't see Kevin James and David Spade in this.
No, those guys have horrible taste, but I think they know better.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, Rob Schneider kind of can't really be picky anymore. He went on a weird Twitter tirade, and he's...
Oh, is he canceled now?
He's
on the verge.
He's on the verge. He's semi-popular amongst some like more right-wing guys, I guess.
No.
I mean, it's all generic. Like he's not like touched on any subject, but he's just getting political. And it's like when you do that, it's like okay, now you're cutting off half your fan base, buddy.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with Dennis Miller too much.
That's right.
Yeah, too bad.
Ah, poor guy.
Oh well.
He's not that smart though. He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't have a source.
Maybe he can marry David or whatever Crowder's ex-wife. So.
No, she deserves somebody way better. She also deserves just to be forgotten. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, like, she deserves privacy.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
Before we
she
go
also
to the next
deserves her own car. If any of you have seen that video, you know what I'm talking about.
Well,
why does that woman not have her own car?
No,
I don't.
I'll tell you why. Because you know, he's millions of dollars. You know, like, that's a common thing. It's a control mechanism. Because you saw he was whining the whole time because, like, oh, if you go, I can't go to the gym. It's a control thing. It's how he controls her. And you can tell by her, she's been dealing with that for years.
Yeah. No, that was... Get an Uber, dude. Okay, I'm sorry we got political here. Your politics, your opinion is fine, but let's all admit that Crowder seems a bit of a douche.
That could be a short.
And maybe not that great of a husband. Okay.
Before we move on to Uncut Gems, which I assume is the next film since you brought it up.
Yeah, let's go there. Yeah.
How much this film had a budget just under $80 million. How much do you think it made?
I'm going to be mad if it made more than half of its budget, so I'm going to go with $40 million.
Oh, dude, you're way off.
I know.
It made $150 million.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. What are you people doing?
And again, that's box office. So as you mentioned, Dunkin' Donuts is paying, all these people are paying money. That's just box office.
Oh.
And then, of course, you probably gave them $2 or $3 when you down.
It was only $2.
Okay, you gave him $2.
Yeah.
That's going to buy him another joke from the kids in the hall or whoever.
Wow. That is...
$150 million.
That is depressing.
A lot of his bad comedies made a lot of money. A lot of them destroyed the budget.
You know, that makes sense, though, because, like, Netflix gave him a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he came over and started doing Hubby Halloween, Ridiculous Six. What was the ones that my wife likes?
Mystery Murder.
Yeah, Mystery Murder. My wife likes those movies. She says
well,
they're
those,
bad.
you don't even need a market, really.
Right.
It's just like, look at this. So, like, you're saving half. Because what's the rule? It's your budget, and then double that for the marketing.
Double your budget for the marketing.
Yeah.
Well, typically it's you need to. It's not so much double the money, double it for marketing. It's you need to make back
It'd be 2 times, wouldn't it?
It's 2 or 3 times your budget in order to technically break even in Hollywood.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of varies from film to film, of course. I think with like Marvel, the bar's a little higher.
Yeah, but because they do a lot more advertising than anybody else. But
they do.
They get back a lot.
They do. It works out for them.
What?
Your face is so stupid.
Okay.
So let's talk about
a movie
Uncut
that doesn't suck.
Gems, which, just to tell you how great this movie is, like there's like apparently like so the 2 brothers that directed and wrote this, I can't think of their name off the top of my head. They do a bunch of like roundtable discussions with Ari Aster. So I'm like, okay,
Nice.
they're all friends, they're all good. And I'm like, okay, that shows because these guys.
They're with competent directors, competent writers.
Yeah, and they hadn't really done anything major before. I think they had a few short films.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had like a true indie film that I've never seen. But this film was wonderful. It was heartbreaking and anxiety laden. Holy crap! I had so much anxiety watching this film, but it was
The tension was constant, but it was deserved at the same time.
Right. And
it was never forced.
One thing I loved about the movie is the character is a very lucky person throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah.
We see that he is a very lucky person, and he is undone entirely by his own stupid decisions.
His own greed, his own selfishness. He could have just walked away clean at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up blowing it.
Yeah.
And but again, and the way that they do it, the way that they write him, though, you don't necessarily cheer for him, but you're not rooting against him at the same time. You want him to succeed,
right? But you want him to make smarter decisions.
You want him to grow,
right?
And it feels like they're just kind of dangling that out there, like he's about to grow, and then he doesn't. You're like, come on, man. They keep you wanting it the whole way through.
Right.
They keep the tension constant. It's never forced. It's never like surprising what happens.
It even got to the point where the scene where he's hiding in the closet and his girlfriend comes home,
right?
And she gets dressed and they start having phone sex. I was like, when is the guy that she's having an affair with going to come in, or are they going to get robbed? Like, this can't be a happy scene, and it is.
Right.
And yeah, it's
his acting in there, because he had a few moments where it was like the typical Sandler mannerisms,
right?
But they fit. It wasn't like constant. It was moments that were appropriate for that particular mannerism. His kind of screaming, the way he screams, it's just everyone's heard him scream by now. I'm sure. It was appropriate for the moment.
Go watch into about 7.5 minutes into Jack and Jill, and you'll hear him scream in a woman's voice, in a parrot's voice, and in his own voice. There you go.
Think of the way he screams in like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. Yeah. He had moments like that, but it was anger that was appropriate for the moment, for the scene.
Well, what I think too is what you heard was his true voice in anger. And all those other times he's putting, he doesn't really do like impressions or anything like that. So whenever he's doing a character, he's just putting on a slight affectation. He's putting on a slight lisp, or he stutters or something like that. Whatever it calls for in the joke. And so you're seeing that his characters are kind of not even characters, just himself on a different emotional spectrum. That's all it is.
It almost feels like he's a dad, and he's just making these goofy voices for his child. That's kind of how I see a lot of the characters. Because like the characters he has in these movies, it's the same as a lot of the stuff he was doing in SNL. I don't know if you remember the news opera guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that was the same voice. Just this kind of.
Well, back then it wasn't a dad. It was a drunken frat boy making his other drunken frat boys laugh.
Right.
And that was the voice he was doing then. And we were all drunken frat boys in the 90s, and so we all laughed at that.
The 90s was just drunken frat boys.
It was.
And whatever that jacket was that Will Smith was wearing, that all the colors.
I don't remember that one.
Something from, what was the TV show he was watching?
Fresh Prince?
Yeah, it looks like the jacket's inside out all the time. All of his jackets look like they're inside out.
No, because he did. He had to wear a uniform to school, so he would...
Well, no, that too, but like every jacket he wore.
Oh, okay.
Every jacket he wore was inside out. Or at least it seemed like it was. Maybe it actually was. I don't know.
So I will say this for Uncut Gems, getting back to that movie. As someone who knows nothing about sports, I had to look up who KJ was. So they kept on talking about KJ.
You had to look him up?
I didn't know who that was. And I was like...
He's a big one, but he's the kind of big where I could understand someone who just doesn't care about sports not knowing who he was. He's not like Michael Jordan, but he's pretty big in basketball.
And I know who LeBron's is.
Sure.
Well, and what's really funny to me though is that when I cared about sports, going so far back, my favorite basketball player was Larry Bird.
Okay.
So I was a Celtics fan.
Nice.
So in this movie, this character is a Celtics fan. Oh, okay. I guess if I was still a Celtics fan, I'd know who this guy was.
Oh yeah, Kevin Garnett's he did them a lot.
KG, not KJ. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant. Yeah. And he actually did pretty well himself in the movie.
Yeah.
He
I didn't know that he was a basketball player.
because growing up, I loved Space Jam. Watching it,
Sorry.
I mean, for a 5-year-old, it's a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for a 5-year-old, I loved it because it was something like that. But like, I watched it again and I was like, oh, Michael Jordan sucks at acting.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him. He's probably the greatest ever. I don't watch enough basketball to say. But Kevin, it's a typical thing where most athletes when they do a role in a movie, they're kind of stiff. It doesn't matter because it's look who it is.
Yeah.
He actually can act. Kevin can actually act. Like he was playing the athlete who's just like kind of like humble on that, and then behind the scenes is like, he's like cussing out Adam Sandler. He's like getting real with him. And I was like, wow, he's actually creating real tension.
Yeah, and he wasn't afraid to play a
dirty person.
A dirty version of himself.
Right.
Like
because you see him on camera when like on camera with like ESPN, and he's given that like real like typical like script in front of him, but then once it's off, he flips it.
Yeah. It was nice to see The Weeknd. As top 40 pop musicians go, I do actually like his music. One of the very few.
He's not bad.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see him in the film, and but yeah, the overall.
This was I'll go ahead and say it. This was my favorite of the three good ones. Well, this is my favorite in general, obviously.
Right.
But of the three good ones, this one was my favorite.
Okay. Well, it's favorite my three, but really Jack and Jill is just my number one overall. No, I won't say this is my favorite, but I did really like it. It was so anxiety laden, and I kind of.
And the kind where you can't pull away.
Right.
You need to see what's next.
And, the ending, this is kind of a modern film. I'm trying to decide how much we want to spoil. I'm not going to give the ending completely away, but I will say that...
It's been about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but I didn't know the ending watching this film. So
gotcha.
if
I didn't either.
If anybody watching this hasn't watched this, I would like to give them the opportunity...
To go see it.
To go to find it and see it, because I do think
it's worthy of that.
It's an impactful ending.
It is.
But yeah, don't watch this movie if you're in too good of a mood. Watch it after Jack and Jill. Perfect movie for after Jack and Jill.
It really is a perfect movie.
Because okay, spoilers.
Be ready to feel
spoilers real quick. After Jack and Jill, you're kind of happy to see Adam Sandler get killed. I'm going to be honest with you, all right? So,
if you could imagine that was Jill,
yes,
it's a great ending. Well, when I say,
I wasn't even imagining it was a character. I was just imagining it was Adam Sandler.
Oh, just him. That's all.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, and the ending is done so well too, because there's a moment where it looks like they're walking towards it, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna beat him up, they're gonna rough him up, and then it's gonna be okay. No, he just shoots him.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa. And then they kill his brother. Since spoilers, since we're already into spoilers.
Was it his
or brother-in-law? I think it was his brother-in-law.
Was it his brother-in-law or was it his uncle-in-law?
Maybe it was his uncle-in-law.
It was a family relation.
It was a family
from his marriage,
and it was a
to the woman
religious
who,
Judaism. So they were actually fairly close. They were doing the was it Passover?
Yeah, they're doing Passover, and he's married to the woman who John Travolta can't say her name.
Adele Dazeem.
I really liked it though, because it's this tragic ending, and they're showing it at the same time while showing his girlfriend who's just elated. She was able to escape with the money. She's excited. They're showing Kevin Garnett, and it looks like he's actually genuinely happy because he knows that he got Adam Sandler the winnings.
Right.
Because he was worried about Adam, and he's like, all right, I did it for Adam. So they're both excited for him. And tragically, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It was a perfectly done ending. It was beautiful. It was poignant. It was everything.
And that zoom in to the bullet hole.
Yep.
That then goes into the opal.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of just calls back to the entire start of the film.
They did a great. They. It's not. I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's not. There's not even really a flaw in the movie. It's a great movie. Like,
Yeah.
there's little things here and there, sure, but like, there's no major flaw. It's very, very well done.
It is. I don't think it's a movie for me that I'll rewatch a lot. I could see myself rewatching it once or twice, but it's not a movie that I'd want to go back to.
I'll watch it again. Yeah, it's not like one to watch every year.
Right, which to me, I'll say there is another movie on this list that is that for me.
I knew you were a Pixels fan. I just knew it.
Yeah.
When you Magina poop your pants, you're gonna be thinking of me in your pants.
Okay, well you brought it up. Let's talk about
We're going to Pixels.
So, Pixels is
the movie that Kevin James was not afraid to be a part of.
No, and neither was Peter Dinklage for some reason.
Yeah.
So this movie, I saw this before almost.
This was at the height of Game of Thrones, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! How did he?
Yeah, no. This is his off season. This is what he decided to do. So I saw this movie before anybody else. I was able to go to the theater to a critic screening. I was able to work my way into that.
That's right.
I used to write for a website that like nobody read, but I wrote for a website, so I was able to get into screenings. I remember leaving the theater and the lady asking me what I thought about the film. And I was like, how much time do you have? And she's like, it was that bad? And I was like, yeah, you can just write that down. That's fine. And we'll just leave it at that. Because the poor lady taking like our thoughts, like it's not her fault that the movie is garbage. I do remember hating this movie even more when I watched it because of how much the audience was laughing.
Really?
Yes.
In the
theater, people were enjoying this film, which really, really irritated me.
People who were like writers of some variety.
Well, they were like, I mean, I think I know I was in there with like some like local like radio DJ type people and things like that.
Okay.
So, and I mean, you've seen the hack frauds on YouTube and stuff like that. That'll just give any movie a blowjob if those people throw some swag their way. They don't care. And that was my experience watching this movie originally. And I'll say this, I really, really hate this film. So I know Jack and Jill is a much worse film, technically. It's a across the board. It's a bad.
This had Galaga and Pac-Man in it, so it's better than Jack and Jill.
Right, but for me, I hate this movie more because I understand there's the potential for a fun, not even a great movie, but a fun, good summer blockbuster film here.
Something at least worth taking your kids to.
Right, and that to me is the key is kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the film starts right. It starts in the summer of '83.
It has that kind of typical summer opening.
Right, and the kids are going to an arcade, and then they go to an arcade competition. It kind of switches pretty quickly between there, and then it jumps to the future. That to me is where the movie fails.
Mm-hmm.
It should have done. There's a movie, I don't know if you've ever watched it. I remember seeing it a bunch as a kid called The Last Starfighter.
I've heard of it.
And so it's kind of like Tron too, where somebody who's really good at a video game, it's Tron, he's transported into the video game, but in Last Starfighter, it's like him being so good at the video game. Okay, well that was training. So now we're going to take you into outer space and you're going to fight this intergalactic battle for us because you passed the training.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like taking that kind of Last Starfighter type thing and using the kids, you could have done this style of movie and made it be a lot of fun, been a good movie for kids.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have had the most moronic Pac-Man sequence. I don't even know why the hell that was in there. Doesn't make any sense. There's not a cheat code for Pac-Man. There just isn't. There's not a cheat code for Donkey Kong. You get to the kill screen. They don't even. There's a documentary called The King of Kong, and if you watch that, you'll understand what it means to cheat at King Kong. These people did not cheat it. To cheat at King Kong means you're not using the original hardware.
Right. It's you're basically hacking the game.
No, you're not even hacking the game. Like, you're using, like, a better joystick than the original hardware had. You're using faster processing. You're using, like, lighter touch buttons and things like that so that you can... You're getting a slight advantage on the game because you aren't using, like, authentic... You know, you're using, what would that be, 8-axis instead of 4-axis joystick or something like that.
Okay.
It's little things like that. Like, that's...
The game's literally not made to even handle that, so you're superior.
You're kind of breaking the game by doing that. And that's like, if you ever look at, there was a guy, and just recently, like this year, it was last year, he got in a lot of trouble. He said he broke the King Kong record finally.
I think I saw that guy.
And
I think you're talking about.
And then people started going through and actually looking at the machine that he was playing on, and from the camera angles, and they like immediately knew like it's not a legit claim. Like the other guy from the King of Kong is still the actual world champion, which is a great documentary.
I think the new guy is trying to sue for defamation too.
Yeah, and he tried that against the documentary because he was in that documentary.
He lost that one. I think he's trying to sue like a couple YouTubers. So this is all opinion.
Yeah,
but but I think he's getting his butt handed to him in court too by them.
And he is definitely the character that Peter Dinklage is basing his character after.
Yes.
I mean, 100%. Like that is definitely this guy, and I think what I find interesting about that is, you know, in most movies Adam Sandler plays with racial stereotypes, and this one he plays with physical stereotypes. I don't even want to say it's a disability, but he literally gave
fat jokes, nerd jokes.
Right, but in this movie he literally gave Peter Dinklage's character small man complex.
Right.
Like what are you doing? Like you literally gave. I think he's a dwarf. I don't want to. Because I know midget. I think is a slur now. I'm not really sure.
I don't know what the medical.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but he literally gave him.
Everyone knows who Peter Dinklage is.
Yeah,
of course.
He's
but they did make him that way. And yet everything you've said so far is correct. My biggest gripe with the movie though was that it was just boring. Like I was hoping that the fact that it had video game stuff in it, I was like, okay, it'll be fun to look at. I could see Centipede, even the effects, which of the three bad movies were probably the best effect, just because it had that in it. It was just boring. Like I just did not even. I didn't care enough to hate it. Like Jack and Jill made me feel anger, but it made me feel something. I was just.
So, did you know that this movie was based on a YouTube short? On a short film?
No, I could see that though.
So it was based on...
Is it based on it or is it stolen from it?
No, it was actually based. That guy got paid, thankfully.
Okay, good.
You remember the scene in the third act where everything is happening? It's all cacophonous. Mm-hmm. And then there's like Tetris being played on a building and destroying the building?
Right.
That's the short film.
Oh, okay.
Which is a clever short film.
Yeah, I like that.
But, yeah. No, the plot.
I like that for like a 4-minute video.
Yeah.
That no one's got to pay money to see.
And it's a great 4-minute video. You can find it on YouTube. I'll paste a link to it right here, or right here, or right here. I don't know how to do those yet, so they'll be wherever they are. Okay. Or we'll put it in the notes, whatever.
So they took a 4-minute video and tried to make a 90 minutes, roughly?
Too long.
Yeah, it was too long. They made just a monstrosity.
Okay. And another thing, and I'm not, compared to certain other YouTubers, I'm probably a fairly liberal and progressive guy. I'm not really that liberal and progressive. This movie, though, pisses me off so bad because it literally makes a woman a trophy. A woman is literally a trophy in this movie. Like, it's the worst writing. Why would you do that? Oh my gosh.
I don't know why, but the way you were building that up, when you were saying liberal progressive, I thought you were gonna say I'm pretty little more progressive, but this movie made me a fascist. That's where I thought you were going.
I am a bit of a fascist now.
This movie breaks your morals.
I hate democracy.
She is.
Now.
So, who's the character that wins her? Which is a horrible sentence to say, but it's an accurate representation.
It's the guy that plays Olaf, I think, in Frozen.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it is that.
It's that guy.
Yeah, he's. And he's the typical nerdy, but they made him like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And again, none of it was funny.
No.
And you can make conspiracy theorists hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You can make them hilarious, especially now. This was like pre-COVID.
Right.
You can make them hilarious. No offense to our COVID deniers.
And also, I will say, even after Donald Trump being president, I still don't buy Kevin James as president. I just don't. I just can't.
Well, that's
buy
the thing is, like, the whole time I kept forgetting he was president. I thought he was like the CEO of just a company. And this was the one thing that made me laugh in the movie. I remember I mentioned Jack and Jill that made me laugh. Who was the general?
Brian Cox.
Yes, he was funny. He actually was funny. I'll give him that. It really felt like he was doing his own thing.
Yeah.
He actually made me laugh a couple times.
My problem is with his character arc. I think is the way he was written. I don't
even care about that. You're talking about standards for like a real movie. I'm talking about.
I will say so. The one positive for me is the one joke that made me laugh in this film is Peter Dinklage is at that big party with Serena Williams, and she gets mad and walks away, and he's like, "Well, at least if I got Martha Stewart, I would have had a nice grilled panini right now." And I don't know what it is. It's just the way the wording grilled panini. Yeah, I thought that was actually like a pretty funny joke. I
It was.
like that.
It was.
Like, that was.
There was effort put into that.
Yeah,
You
and
can
I think,
see the ideas.
And it shows that Dinklage can rise above the material too. Like
He can.
He's that good.
Same with Brian Cox. Like they
Yeah.
I think at some point they realized what it was, and so they're like, I got to do something.
Poor Michelle Monaghan. Oh, I hate that she was stuck in here.
It's just the whole thing, and the Asian guy who Pac-Man bit his hand off.
That wasn't the real guy.
That was okay. I wasn't sure. So they were just making a. Well, I mean, I guess it's an Asian guy doing it, so it's not racist. But they were just making fun of him.
No, if he's probably from like Cleveland, it'd be like those old John Hugh movies where they have Long Duck Dong, but the guy was from like Wisconsin or something like that. Yeah,
Connecticut. Yeah, and that's the thing too is like it goes back to Jack and Jill. Like it's just he's just talking like the typical Asian stereotypical accent. Like he's just it's not even trying. And like I understand that Asians when they have a very broken accent, it sounds a little different. But like they were intentionally exaggerating it.
right.
Just not even trying.
And we've all seen A Christmas Story. That's as much. If you want to do that joke, Christmas Story did it kind of perfectly, and it was both humorous and showed them as very loving people at the same time, being considerate of the family.
They were at least trying to be serious in the movie. This was just a goofy guy on drugs or something running around.
Okay, so real quick, because I hate this movie so much, these are my notes. I'm going to read this off real quick. So it's very important that this happened. The videotape that was taken was in the summer of 1982. Okay? That's when the movie starts. That's when everything takes place.
Right.
And the probe gets sent off pretty much immediately after that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's conceit of the film.
Yes.
So, Qbert wasn't released until October of 1982. Madonna's first album didn't come out until a full year after the movie, so she wouldn't have been part of the movie at all. Samantha Fox didn't get her big break until the next year, so when the kid references that he would like to marry Samantha Fox, he would have had no idea who she was. Where's the Beef did not air on TV until 1984, so the fact that there's Where's the Beef at all in the film is a reference. Anachronistic. Duck Hunt wasn't until 1984, so that dog wouldn't have been in the movie to be a trophy. In 1982, Hall & Oates performed You Make Me Dream and I Can't Go For That. So the Aliens wouldn't have had a recording of She's Gone where they could have done that. Paperboy wasn't released until 1985. Tetris was created in 1985, but was not released in North America until 1988. The Smurfs did have a video game, but it was released in 1982, and it was only for the Atari and ColecoVision, not for the arcade. So if they filmed all the video game stuff for the arcade, there wouldn't have been any Smurfs anywhere for that to go. Max Headroom didn't appear until 1985 for the first time. And Burger Time didn't come till North America until the end of 1982. And Arachnoid was not released until 1986. So the vast majority of video game references in this film are anachronistic.
Are you implying this movie is lacking consistency?
Also, and I want to make this point real quick too. So they make a videotape, right? They make a videotape to send off.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to put in the probe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can assume that the probe is insulated.
Sure.
But it's in it's flowing through the vacuum of space, and if it's not getting consistent energy in there, it's basically going to reach an equilibrium just at a very slow rate.
Sure.
So that film tape in there is going to freeze and become too brittle for even a civilization of aliens who let's assume that they can even determine how to view and how to read the information off of a VHS tape. It would have been too brittle and would have broke apart. All your conceits for this film are stupid, which is why you should have done a Last Starfighter type remake and not even tried to do any of this. Because, and this is what happens when you make a bad film. Like, I'm fine with, there's plenty of movies I like that have plot holes and are anachronistic and don't work out. I mean, Monty Python's Search for the Holy Grail, full of anachronisms. Doesn't make any sense.
Great movies have plot holes.
Right, but when you make a bad movie and you do even lazier plot holes and lazier anachronisms, that's all I'm thinking about the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my fun in actually watching this movie, was being like, I don't think there was I'm pretty sure the Duck Hunt Duck Dog didn't come about until Nintendo, so that would have been after 1982. So that's my final word on Pixels, which is my least favorite of all these movies. It can fucking die, and I never see it again.
So your notes are very different than my notes. Mine were just questions, actually. First one is, this is the first one of the question. Pixels has the same stupid Adam Sandler voices since he began his career. How do they know right away that it's a video game? So from the moment that they're in the Oval Office, they know it's a video game. How do they know that? Makes no sense.
Nope.
How are you friends with the president and he does nothing to help your career?
Yep.
For a record, Adam Sandler, what is he, like a cable man?
He's a
Geek Squad.
Geek Squad from Best Buy.
Yeah. But he went to and that was another attempt at a joke. He went to MIT, but it was
Mississippi Institute of Technology.
Exactly. Yeah, Mississippi. Why does the van have brakes that can literally stop on a dime when his friend appeared in the back and scared him? Like that. It's like this old 1990 van, but it can stop immediately.
Well, the physics of that entire scene don't really make sense because the friend would have been thrown entirely forward.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Unless
another question.
Unless the screen between the driver and the back was actually a trampoline, I'm not sure there would have been enough force there to actually throw him completely out of the back.
I mean, that wouldn't even be top 10 stupidest things in this movie.
No, it wouldn't have. It wasn't. I didn't even think of it until you just said that.
The friend's name was Ludlow. There's a scene in his basement where he basically just casually admits to kidnapping people. Why did they breeze past that? I did. He just casually. He's like, you're the first person who's been down here without me having to kidnap them. I'm like, I'm sorry. What? Why does someone responsible for multiple good movies not understand comedy?
You're talking about
Billy Madison, Mr. Deeds.
I didn't even think you were talking about that. So the director of this did Home Alone.
What the hell?
He was Chris Columbus.
So there's zero excuses.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
No.
What else did Chris Columbus did a lot of movies like in the 80s and 90s. He did. No, that was Richard Donner did Goonies. No, I'm trying to think, but I know he did Home Alone. I'm trying to think what else he did.
His last few.
John Hughes written, by the way. Call back to that.
Nice. What do they think Navy SEALs are? What do they think British people are? Their ideas of Navy SEAls are...
the British scene
Yes.
cracked me up so much because it's so obvious they flew like 2 guys over to get some B-roll, and everybody else is just like, hey, let's go to this park. Hey, can you guys playing soccer do an accent? Okay. All right, we're in England now, guys. Eh?
It was perfect.
Oh, man.
But the Navy SEAls were just... I mean, and again... If this were the worst thing in the movie, they're just a bunch of roided up guys. But what bothered me more was that they were all standing in formation at parade rest, which is where your hands are behind your back. Navy SEALs don't do that. Navy SEAls have beards. They'll just hang out and talk to you. They're not gonna do this fake respect thing that you see elsewhere. What I mean is, like, they're not gonna do all like the pomp and circumstance. They're there for one thing. That's it. They're there for the mission, and everyone knows that.
And I feel like, military, army guys at this point in time, it's not like jocks don't leave high school and go join the military. Jocks generally...
They do if they get hurt before they can go to college ball.
Well, I assumed a lot of them went and became, like, the annoying, overpowered, like, local sheriff and cop and things like that.
Yeah, there's some of those too. Sometimes they go...
I feel like a lot of times the army is the place sometimes for, like, the outcasts who need a bit more of a home and a little bit more of a guidance. And those people generally at least know and have played video games before.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, these Marines
well,
acted like they
nowadays...
never even played a video game.
Even jocks nowadays play video games.
Yeah.
And at the very least, they know what a video game is. Like who doesn't know what Pac-Man is?
Right.
Everyone, like, me, Mom, and Papa know what Pac-Man is.
Yeah. I used to play Galaga with Papa.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Me, Mom was a killer at Minesweeper. She was.
Papa had Snake on his phone.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Last one. Why not have the 2 guys who actually understand the enemy be more available? As soon as the centipede comes, they just put Sandler and was it Kevin James? Or no, it was his buddy to the back. And they have the Navy SEALs do it. Give them guns.
Well, again, this is the bad character arc, plot, and writing that they gave to Brian Cox's character.
Exactly.
So that's what that. I mean, it's bad writing to create a secondary dramatic villain and an obstacle and a hurdle that they have to overcome in the third act. That's all that is.
Why even give him a character arc?
Right, exactly.
You can save a couple 100,000.
Well, and like, he doesn't even have a character arc. His character arc implies growth.
He has a flat character arc.
He does. Well, I mean, pretty much every character in here does, because it's not like Adam Sandler at the end of his
becomes
all of a sudden actually goes to real MIT or something like that, and brushes his teeth. Yeah, I don't know. It's
all right.
I think that's what irritates me about this movie is it could have been so good. Leave it at kids. Mm-hmm. Leave it as a period piece in the 80s. Make it a Last Starfighter type knockoff. That's fine. It had been long enough. Nobody would remember the Last Starfighter.
Or make it like The Wizard.
Exactly.
I would love to see The Wizard again.
Yeah.
In fact,
don't put that on the list. I don't need to.
I'm not gonna put it on the list.
I don't need to remember the Power Glove.
I
Okay. mean, thanks to that movie, we all knew where the flutes were in Mario Brothers.
That is
Mario Brothers 3.
How I did it. No, but that but no, I am gonna watch that movie soon. Actually, now that I think about it, that's a.
Watch it soon. I think Fred Savage has been canceled. So yeah, you
What did he do?
I think he was like.
Is he MAGA?
No, I think he made some sexist remarks or something like that on set or something like that.
I mean, that's pretty tame for nowadays.
Yeah. No, it doesn't take much.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so time to piss off Kevin. All right,
Okay.
The budget is vague here. It's between $88 million and $129 million. Let's just call it $100 million. How much do you think it made?
So this one I do think with worldwide actually is almost profitable, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this one is close to 240.
You were very close. It's 245.
Yeah.
You were close.
That's because I hate all of you. I hate everybody that watched this movie and paid for it. Oh my gosh.
Kevin didn't pay for it. He just went and saw it.
Yeah, I got free tickets, and then I think it was on. Is it on Freebie? No, it was
Tubi.
on Tubi. It was on
Yeah,
Tubi.
we watched it on
So
Tubi.
I have never paid to watch this movie. Never given this movie any money. Very
I'm
very
proud
happy
of that.
about that. I would have been happy never watching that
So,
movie again.
which chaser do we want to drink next?
Let's go with Hustle.
Hustle. All right.
Why are you doing that? Why do you sigh so loud? Isn't he weird, Poopsie?
Where were you?
Poopsie gets it.